The mind's battle, Arjuna's search for liberation. The word for a guru does not really exist in the English language. So they have borrowed guru itself, guru. But they have borrowed the word guru and rather misunderstood it and misapplied it. So anybody who seems to be an expert at anything can be justifiably called a guru in the English language. Now that's not the proper usage in spirituality or in Sanskrit. Is it? You know, it would be better to even beg or eat than to slay such high or noble teachers. If I slay them, then in this world, all my consumptions would be rather drenched in blood. Chapter 2, verse 5. Shrimad Bhagwad Geeta, chapter 2, verse 5. Arjuna is continuing with the poignant expression of his dilemma and his rather unenviable predicament. He says, it would be better to even beg or eat than to slay such high and noble teachers. If I slay them, then in this world, all my consumption would be rather drenched in blood. Look at my teachers. Look at my teachers. See how exalted they are. How am I to slay them? And if I do that, whatever then I receive as proceeds, won't it be stained with their blood? Am I expected to consume and enjoy that? So that's Arjuna's position, his dilemma. A few things are to be seen here, because when you just superficially glance at what Arjuna is saying, it's difficult to pick a hole in the argument. Look at how exalted my masters are. If I were to kill them, how am I to enjoy the resultant proceeds? Artha kamam. Whatsoever is then obtained to please my desires. Who is a teacher? Who is a teacher? At the core of Arjuna's indecisiveness lies this moot question. Who is a teacher? If you are a body identified person, then the teacher to you is just a body like you are. If you are mind identified, then the teacher to you is a bundle of memories, an apostle of an ideology, somebody you have been related to and drawn your identity from. And Arjuna seems to be suffering on both counts, the body and the mind. It's indeed interesting, rather amusing, that to Krishna, Arjuna points that his teachers are all standing on the other side of the divide. To Krishna, Arjuna is saying, look that way. That's where my teachers are. How do I listen to you and fight them? That's where my teachers are. You can't still see the irony? If the teacher is just a body to you, then he will not be someone who can be very fundamentally different from you. The body is pre-programmed to deal with other bodies in a specific way, and the body cannot exceed that programming. If the teacher is a body to you, then try as hard as you may. Your association, your affiliation, your relationship with the teacher will not exceed a certain mark. You know very well in advance how to deal with bodies. That's human beings. Just as animals know how to deal with one of their kind, you too will know. So, then someone who teaches you certain skills, you will not hesitate in calling him a guru. Then trainers will be labeled gurus. People who impart your skills, physical or mental, will be labeled gurus. And in doing that, you will miss out on exactly that which Arjuna is very ready here to miss out on, the real one. If the trainer has been taken as the guru, then where now is the scope for the real one, the real guru? Obviously, the trainer holds a certain importance. How much is the importance that a trainer must hold? Exactly. The importance that your body holds in your life, and the body being an important resource, rather the central resource, cannot be said to hold zero or minimal importance. Since the body is important, you feed the body, you clean the body, you keep the body healthy. Similarly, the trainer too is important. Then comes the teacher of the mind. The teacher of the mind, he trains the mind, fills it up, informs it, gives it a certain shape. Such leaders, such teachers, I refer to as knowledge providers, KPs. They have a very important role, obviously, because if you have not imparted the right knowledge, the result will be that you will fill yourself up with all kinds of ignorance, which is false knowledge. So, the knowledge provider, who is commonly called as the teacher, definitely has a place, and that place is a higher one compared to the place that a trainer is going to hold. Why? Because as you stand, for you and mind must be more important than the body. If the body is paining, that is something you can relatively easily tolerate. But if the mind is suffering, it will be more difficult for you to accept, right? If an organ starts malfunctioning, you may even decide to give up on the organ. If your legs develop gangrene, you may decide to get them amputated. But if your mind goes corrupt, that's a far bigger tragedy. You cannot give up on the mind. You cannot slice away a portion of the mind, right? As we stand, being mentally deformed is definitely a bigger tragedy than being physically deformed. No? Being mentally ugly is a more serious thing than being physically unattractive, right? So, the teacher holds a higher place over the trainer just because the mind holds a higher place than the body. But the teacher, this knowledge provider, is still not a guru. Why? Because he does good things to the mind, but still keeps you within the mind. He fills up the mind in a nice way, but does nothing to clean, purify, and empty it. A mind filled with incense or jewels is obviously a better place than a mind filled with trash and stink. But it still is a very heavy mind. So it is irrespective of what it is full of. It remains filled up. It remains occupied. In a relative sense, better to be occupied with something worthy rather than something ignoble, useless. But any kind of occupation, after a while, becomes unbearable, becomes a disease. The natural state, the highest state of the mind, is an empty one. A mind relieved of everything, Mind as a void, that's what the ego really aspires for. What is the mind? The ecosystem that the ego creates around itself. The ego is an entity that does not like itself too much. Then how can it bother to like what it has accumulated around itself? The ego says, I cannot stand to bear my own identity, the doer that I am. Then how do I please myself with the result of all my doings over time? And the mind is nothing but the results and the remnants of the doings of the doer. Who is the doer? The one who is at the center of the mind, the ego. Are you getting it? So, the contents of the mind never really please the ego. They may do so for a limited while. Episodically, everything appears beautiful and desirable, and there is nothing that is continuously undesirable. If something is continuously anything, then that beats the law of duality. Just as nothing can be continuously desirable, equally nothing can be continuously undesirable. So all that is quite cyclical, and the ego has had enough of that. It's trapped in that cycle since eternity. And in its own depths, the ego knows all this that I have accumulated around myself is no good. Wealth, gems, relationships, knowledge, memories, concepts, ideologies. None of that takes me beyond a point, and that point is me. There is nothing in the mind that helps the ego transcend itself, and so even the knowledge provider, in some sense, beyond a point, actually starts irritating the ego. The ego starts getting fed up of this. Come on, all this that you tell me and give to me sounds so high, so sublime, so scholarly. When I heard you for the first time, I actually felt like falling for you. Streams of pure knowledge coming forth from you to me. But I have received enough of the stream, and it's not quenching my thirst. Are you getting me? Now begins the role of the Guru. His brief is to expunge the mind of whatever it has. Does the Guru bestow knowledge? No, he uses knowledge. So please understand the difference between a teacher and the Guru. The sole role of the teacher is to impart knowledge, and when it comes to the Guru uses knowledge as an instrument. He does not seek to impart knowledge. He uses knowledge to wipe you clean. And therefore, the knowledge that the Guru uses has a certain unique quality. It is camphor-like. What's peculiar about the camphor? What's that quality called? Sublimation. Okay? Sublimation.